All right, we are going to work on mobility through your back and your hips. And that will involve the psoas and your hamstrings because it's all one little package. So we'll start standing up, and I want you to have your legs apart, and I want you to not move your legs at all, and I want you to push your thighs in, push them out, push your right leg forward, push your left foot forward, in, out, right, back. So what we're doing is we're waking up some of the muscle fibers that might have been asleep, which causes us to overuse, say, your adductors or overuse your hips. So we're just getting a little bit of mobility through those ranges. Next little quick one, similar to that, is on the ground. So I'm going to lay down on the ground and really quite simply just bring your knees close to your tummy. So I'm going to hold this tuck and grabbing my knees and pushing them in. So I'm just going to hold that for a little while. You're going to get stretched through the hip. You're also going to feel that in your back. Take that one step further. Now I'm going to hold this hug, but I'm going to push my knees into my hands. So I'm pushing them up to the ceiling. Then I'm going to push them out to the side, resisting my hands. Push my thighs into my hands. Push into my fists. So I'm getting, again, those 4 ranges of motion, so that if I have a weakness in one or an injury in one, I'm going to wake up the muscle fibers in the other directions. I'll do that 5 times, pushing out and bringing my knees to my chest. Going from here, take a little break away from the strengthening, but going to work on, again, my hips, my back, doing a little bit of bridging. So I'm going to get in a neutral spine, so pretend that I'm connecting my belly button to my ribs, so as if there's a little plug, plugging that in. I'm going to hold tight my glutes, and I'm going to put my hands down here, and then I'm going to bridge by bringing my hips up in the air, and just hold. And then bring them down, and relax. Tighten everything up again, tighten up your glutes, and come back up into a bridge and hold it. So do this 5 or 6 times. Take a little break from that, and then you can add in some hamstring work by doing the same thing, tucking in my abdominals, my glutes get tight, firing those hips up, holding, and then raise and lower a leg. So now we're getting in a little bit of glute strength and hamstring work, and then bring it down. So 5 reps of each, 2 sets. One of my favorite ones, I've talked about it before, is the dead bug. Well, now we're going to do a dead bug laying down, but it's also going to release your hips and help with your hamstrings. So we're going to have opposite hand to the thigh, and then I'm going to push my hand into my thigh and straighten my leg. So I'm going to get a hamstring stretch, and I'm getting core work, and I'm working my psoas and helping with my back. Change to the other side, push into my hand, straighten the leg, core is tight, down, switch sides. Keep breathing. This is one of my favorites because it works the hamstring, it works your core, which is key, and it works that hip area, which is so important. So I usually finish that, which is kind of challenging, and I usually then go back to a bit of a bridge. And I hold, and I hold, and my glutes are nice and tight. From here, I'll take another little tiny break and go back to just doing a little bit of work for my spine. And I love lazy push-ups, but you have to be a little bit careful. Put a little cushion under your tummy so that you can actually get your arms fully extended and keep your hips on the ground. If you don't have this pillow, you might not keep your hips on the ground, and you might not get that full range. So this is easier with the pillow than without. If I don't have it with, I'm gonna end up getting my hips off the ground, which is no good. So I keep that little pillow there underneath my tummy. Then I can come up with pretty straight arms, and everything's relaxed. My glutes are relaxed, and then come back down and keep breathing. So that's just gonna give you some nice mobility through your spine from sitting through the course of the day. Come back from here onto your knees, and then just get into a nice big stretch. You see this all the time in yoga, but what you're essentially doing is you're stretching your quads by leaning back onto your heels. So hold that, do that a few times. Then I like to come up and go down to my heels. But when I do this, I've got my core engaged. I'm sucking my belly button into my back, so I'm also getting a really nice hamstring stretch as well. Another nice exercise for your hips, again, hips are related to the back, hips are related to the psoas, is a thing called hinging. And I'll go to my side so you can see it. Got my legs slightly bent. I suck my belly button into my back, and it's literally a hinge from the hip. Nothing else is happening. My glutes go out, and I come back. And I hinge, and that's gonna activate my hamstrings and open up my hip. You can add to that when you get good at that by grabbing a kettlebell, grabbing some weights, and now I get that little bend, and I hinge, and I come down. It gets me a little bit further, but you're gonna get, it's almost like a bit of a deadlift and hinge. Getting a nice stretch. You can add one more little variation to that by doing a hinge, and then I'll do it from the front this time so you can see belly button to the back, hinge from the hip. Notice both my knees are bent. I'm gonna just tighten my quad and straighten this knee. And then I'm gonna let it go and do the same to this one and come up. And you're just gonna feel a little bit more of a stretch through your hamstring again, which is great for your back. Oh, again, opening up the hip joint. I like this little exercise where I grab some sort of a band and use for both legs. You push into the band, externally rotate your toes, come around, then internally rotate as you come across your body, and down in front, and then another leg press. Externally rotate your toe, come around on the inside, externally rotate as you come in, then do a leg press. That's one cycle. My core is tight while I'm doing that, and then I repeat that. That's a really nice opening up for the hips. Also gives you that little bit of a leg press. So do that 5 complete cycles. Really nice stretch. Tight psoas is a real problem with people. So you can get a ball, you can get a weight, and you can literally put it into your psoas and try to get a little bit of a stretch. My core is tight. I need probably a bit more of a ball here, but I've just got this weight allowing me to release the psoas. I've talked a bit before about the dead bug, which is great for the psoas. For this, if we go over here, I sit down and I'd slump over and then push my thigh into my hand and straighten up. Slump, push my hand into my thigh and straighten up. That really stretches the psoas and helps a lot with your back. A lot of back pain can be related to those psoas. So slumped and then straight up. And breathe, slump, push in, and breathe. I think that's all of the ones that I've been doing lately to help with back, hips, core, hamstring. If I think of any more, I'll add them to